So we are starting and it's gonna be live in 1 minute. It's just connecting. And I will search for you and find to add you as a friend also in Facebook, so then I can share the video with you if you want. And yeah, we're live. So I would love to hear a little bit of your journey in life sciences, and how is your experience about life and happiness and your approach to that. Just like tell me a little bit more about how do you see life.
How I see life?
Mm-hmm.
Well, life, I think now, I mean, if you'd asked me this question 20 years ago, 30 years ago, my
Okay.
answer would have been totally different.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because then you're looking at life ahead of you.
Uh-huh.
Now, at my age, I'm 66,
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at life behind me,
True.
what I've gained and what I've achieved, and then life ahead of me. I was just making myself a cup of tea.
Very
And
nice.
so it's a day-to-day thing, life, you know. For me, at this point in juncture, I've had my education. I've done what I had to do. I did business. I did my law. I did my master's in business administration, and with that, I became a corporate trainer in UK. I would train people on direct sales, stress management, and time management.
Very
So
interesting subject.
I developed my own program
Mm-hmm.
on time management and stress management. I coupled them together because if you manage your time,
Yes.
that means you are managing most of your stress
Totally.
in a working life. But if you're not managing your time, then whatever stress you have caused by the environment, caused by the surroundings, your situation, you aggravate that stress. You increase it by not managing your time. So I've coupled the two programs together, time management and stress management. And yeah, it was quite popular actually. I've done few over here. I've done this program for a hospital over here, a big hospital. Uh,
What is the key of time management? Like why so many people fail to manage their time correctly?
because they don't think about it. I mean,
Okay.
they think coming to work is time management. But when you come to work, how you're going to spend the next 8 hours, they will never manage that. They will never, they will never try and prioritize their time.
Mm-hmm.
So that causes a huge. For example, you come at 9 in the morning,
Yeah.
and people usually have a cup of coffee, tea, and they might say hello to their colleagues. And what's up today? They look at the papers. What's up today? What have you to do? A lot of time is wasted because it's not pre-planned. And then if the boss wants you, you leave everything, you go and sit for half an hour with the boss and butter him up, chat him up for no rhyme or reason. You come back to your office, you've lost track where you were. It will take a few minutes for you to get back onto that track. So like this, the day goes on. Now, if you have a pile of work that you have to finish by 5 o'clock, and you've been, going here and there, uh, then at 5, you will realize that a lot of work that had to be done has not been done.
Of course.
So you carry that with you home tomorrow, and
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow when you come back, you've got tomorrow's present work and yesterday's work.
Yeah.
So that becomes a lifestyle for people, you know. They then are never on top of their work. They're always under their work. Therefore, they're always under pressure. Therefore, the pressure creates stress. And when you're in stress, then your decision making, your skills are hampered. You got that?
Totally. And that's what I was realizing also. Like even today or some days that for some reason you just wake up slower than other days, right? Like more tired maybe, or just less sleep or not so good sleep. You just wake up different, right? And then it feels that you're dragging the whole day behind you when the other days that you wake up very energetic and you really take steps to plan your whole day ahead, the day goes by and you're completely fine. You don't feel that you even worked, and it's a completely different feeling. And but it's interesting also to start seeing like why we have so much pressure from losing time. Like it's kind of our bigger stress, you know. Like why time is pressuring us so much?
I'll explain to you. Everything in this world is time. You don't go to a nursery school at the age of 21. At the age of 21, you go to a university.
Mm-hmm.
Or a 4-year-old child does not go to university at 21. So everything is relevant to time. Your phase in life, that's your time, and the time in the world, that your phase of time, what are you going to do at that time of the world?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, a definition of a straight line between 2 points, the shortest distance is a straight line
Mm-hmm.
between 2 points. One is point A and the other is point Z.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, point A is your morning, 8 o'clock when you start for work. But before going to work, you go to point B. You maybe you want to get some snacks and you spend half an hour over there. Or as you're going, there's a traffic road rage. Somebody comes before you. You have to slam the brakes. So what do you do now? Do you enter into a dialogue and a fight, or do you ignore that person and just carry on with your work, irrespective of how irritated you are? Now, if you decide to indulge in a abusing match with him, you've lost energy, and you are, before you start your work, you've become negative and you wasted your time. The other way, you go to the office, you go and say hello to your friends, you sit in, you read a paper. I'm talking of executives.
Mm-hmm.
This way, you keep missing your target. Now, I have a program, I have a workshop for this, what we're talking about. And there you've got a planner from, if you're starting work at 9, so 9 to 9:30, this is what you have to do. 9:30 to 10, this is what you do. Then 10 to 10:30, maybe you want to take a break for coffee and biscuits. And then after 10:30 to 11:30, this is what you do. So you have a planner. You systematically plan your day. If you follow that, you will find out that before 5 o'clock, your work has been done. Because you're not going to go to your friend in the next room and chat and backbite about people, about colleagues, and spend 1 hour over there. Because you are so focused on that planner that is on the table, that is telling you that it's 3 o'clock, and 3 o'clock is the time when you have got to make these telephone calls to your customers. So you have to do that. So you got to plan your day. If you don't plan your day, then you lose out on it. And when you lose out on your day, then that means you take a lot of stress because your work is not complete and you're carrying it forward.
And how
So
to
that is why
balance?
it has to be coupled together.
How to balance between having a plan but also being flexible and adaptable, mostly for entrepreneurs, if new opportunities or new contacts come in, because many times in entrepreneurial work you have to be adjustable. Like if a very important call comes in, you have to be able to take it, for example. Like if a meeting takes longer because it's important, you have to be able to expand this meeting. You know what I mean? Like in the entrepreneurial world, it's a little bit less structured than in the corporate world, because there are much more things changing. So how do you balance these two?
What we were talking about was about the corporate world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're talking about a private business and an entrepreneur, then in that case, again, you need a planner, and you got to leave time. That okay, from 10 to 12 or 10 to 1 or 10 to 2 or even the first half of the morning or the second half of the day, I'm going to leave that talking to people and trying to figure out ways and get feelers from the market, get feelers from people, that how do we go about this? Then you put that into your plan.
Practically, you plan the unplanned. You plan the unplanned. You plan the unexpected, right? So you leave space for the unexpected. You know that's going to happen, so you leave space for it, practically, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That has to be planned because it's the nature of your work. If you think you get calls and it takes about 2 hours of your day, then during your plan, you keep those 2 hours for unexpected calls. Mm-hmm. Like I did a program for the doctors. I was talking to you about this hospital. That hospital was overstaffed. Mm-hmm. And because it was overstaffed, it underperformed. Now that's funny, you see. So when you got less people and they're targeted, they have to do this work and it's a planned environment, then your production is much more. Then you got extra people doing one job and you end up chit-chatting more than doing the bloody work.
And not only that, I feel that, and I would like your opinion about that, I feel that in most of the jobs and most of the corporate jobs, we are really not using the full capacity of our human potential. We are really wasting our people's times and lives eventually, because time is going to end up being your life if you do it for 30 years, right? So what is your opinion about it? How can we become more efficient and more targeted without the people feel more stressed but feel less stressed?
I just told you, it's all about focus. You know, I have a program where I teach people, do a workshop on time management and stress management. It is to be focused and how they can be more productive. Mm-hmm. So, like I was talking to you about the hospital, let me complete that. Now, the less people you have, and they are focused on the targets that is given to them, rather than, there's a saying in English, too many cooks spoil the broth. So, so you keep a cook specially for an item at a time. The other thing that I also did in the hospital was, I saw that the work was being overlapped between nurses and the resident director doctors. It was being overlapped because they were all waiting for the consultant to come and they were wasting their time. And the consultant would come, stroll in, look at this, look at that, and stroll out. But half the day would be wasted because of that exercise. So I put into place some reforms in that hospital, and it started working and performing like a machine.
What were the major reforms? Because I have seen that even though it seems easy to motivate people to take their own initiatives and be able to plan their own day and be proactive, sometimes people just wait to be told what they should be doing. And they waste their time until somebody tells them what to do. So how do we change that?
Well, what I did in this hospital was I got them to appoint a manager or a motivator who had nothing to do with the medical profession, but who was a motivator, who knew how to put things into work, how to put things into system. And his job was to give a prep talk of about 5 minutes to every section, every faculty of the hospital.
Mhm.
Like if the nurses are taking position, he would go and give them a 5 minute talk what they have to do. Similarly, to the resident doctors, the junior doctors, and he would always be available. His job, he was like like a watchdog. And if he would see, people are, he'd just go up to them and say, What's the issue? What's the problem? Why are you strolling over here? Is there something I can do? Can I help you?
Mhm.
What's the, so people basically, it has to be a little bit regimented in places. And a regimented regime is very necessary when you want things to be done, when
Yeah.
when you want when you want to be productive. People have a different opinion in London also. They are more laid back, and they've started dressing down. They don't go in suits now, and they go in just jeans and shirts. I totally disagree with that, because if you dress down, that means mentally you've dressed down as well. You become casual. You become easy. You are going to laze around. You become casual about things. That's not it. See, if you have a tie which is strung up your neck and it's making you uncomfortable, and after every 2 minutes you got to loosen your collar because it's strangling you, it keeps you on your toes. I mean, that's my personal opinion. That's what I teach people in my workshops, because wearing moccasins, chewing gums, and you know jeans and bush shirts, that doesn't do the job. That doesn't do the trick for me. It doesn't. No. If in the discipline, they say charity starts at home. So you want discipline, you better get disciplined yourself.
That's true. That's totally true. And I realize also that what you say, like however we present ourselves is what we are expecting to receive also, what we will receive it also. So
Yeah,
if you don't
it's
pay respect also by your appearance to your clients, they will not pay so much respect to you either.
absolutely correct. You don't. Tomorrow you want. They say we want to be easy, laid back. Tomorrow they'll go to the office in their pajamas. So where do you stop?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
But I feel
So
that this has a lot to do with the extreme rigidness of corporates. So I feel that people, for me personally, I feel that the schedule that the corporates have is not the best we can do for to tap into human potential, and mostly in creative jobs, right? Because creativity doesn't work from 8 to 5. Even if we want to, it doesn't. So I feel that if the people were able to take responsibility and have and going through tasks instead of just working hours, and have being able to, if that morning they want to be laid back, they're laid back for 2 hours, and then they dress when they're ready, they dress up and they give their best selves. I think that it might be different. Do you agree on that?
totally, this is what the planner is about.
Mhm.
You have a planner, and you obviously in that planner you give yourself an hour, uh, or something for flexible time. So if you use that hour at home, taking it easy, so that's okay because you've got it planned.
Yeah.
And even if you exceed that, at least you know where you are, and then when you go there, you're 2 hours behind. So you prioritize your day.
Yeah.
There are many things which is not priority. For example, in your planner, I also have a 30-minute break for tea.
Mhm.
Now, if you've already had that break in the morning, you've been relaxed and all that, you don't need to take that 30-minute break. You can have a cup of tea on your table while you're working.
Exactly. Yeah. But
It's not.
how to prioritize correctly? Because I feel that many times we tend to do just the very small tasks that are urgent, and we leave outside the bigger tasks that are important, like the ones that need more time, but they're eventually they will bring us much, much further. So how do you to balance these two during a day?
You got to look at the bigger picture on the canvas.
Mhm.
You know, when a painter is painting and you're painting on a canvas, you got to step back and look at the painting and admire the painting. You don't go and pick on one leaf on the tree that you think the grains that the painter has made is not right. It's not quite matching the other grain on the other. So you don't do that. You don't start micromanaging. You know,
Mhm.
you stay back and you look, it's a beautiful painting. There are leaves over there. It's not a portrait where every detail has to be. It's a scenery. So it all depends on your work, what you're doing. I mean, if you're painting a scenery, it's different. And if you're painting a portrait, yes, then the painter will have to count the wrinkles on your face and put it on the
Mhm.
painting.
Okay, yeah, that's a good advice. But I feel that everything is kind of connected. So the more stressed you are in your day, the better, the worse decision you take, and the less you
Of
are able
course,
to see this big picture.
yeah, of course. But you see, the point is what I'm trying to make over here and what my program tells you, that you don't start your work without prioritizing your day and without planning your day, because then you are unnecessarily adding stress to your daily life. You have lost count of time. I mean, sometimes you come, you get engrossed in a conversation. It could happen to everybody. It happens to you, it happens to me. Sorry, it
I
happens
love.
to you, it happens to me, and it happens to all of us that we go somewhere, we are so engrossed. Oh God, it's 10 o'clock. I never knew it was 10 o'clock, but the time's gone. So that happens. So
Of
you
course.
must be very, very conscious of the time that you have, because you've got 8 hours in a day, and you need to get your work done in those 8 hours. So
Exactly. And do you personally
yeah, you
also
get that?
plan? You do you personally also plan your free time also,
I
or
can't hear you
only?
now. Some
Can you hear me?
can't hear you.
No, really? Maybe it's my internet. Can you hear me now?
No.
No,
Very, very rare, very hardly.
really? Let me try with this. Sometimes the
I was
internet.
getting a call from somewhere and I discontinued that call. Could that be the
Ah,
reason?
is it better now? Is it the same? Is it worse? No, you can't hear me. I didn't change anything from my
Is that
side.
better?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can't hear you. Why is that?
That's funny. I have no idea. Uh, I don't know. Don't know what happened. Totally, actually. You cannot hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Ah, okay, perfect. I don't know what happened. Probably something in the phone.
Yeah, I can hear you. So, planning is very, very important, and you have to prioritize your day.
So how do you start in your program? How do you take people from never having a plan, for example, to start being structured? Because many people have resistance in planning, you know?
I think the best thing is you approach the management
Mm-hmm.
and tell them that you got the staff and your performance is there. This is the program we have. If you take this program and let these people join our workshop, then you will see that their production and they are more productive and they produce much better. And I've got results. I did this hospital. It's a big, huge hospital. I've done many companies as well.
Mm-hmm.
And why I like the best example of the hospital was because over there you have to figure out and give time for emergencies.
Of course.
You can't work like a clock all the time
Yeah, no.
because an emergency crops up, then you got to make time for that. So all that is planned during the day.
That's
Because
very
it's
interesting.
not second by second for 8 hours. It doesn't work that way. So if you got 8 hours, then at least 4 hours is something that you have to produce.
Mhm.
The other 4 hours you can play with.
Yeah.
That does not mean you go home and sleep, but there is work to be done. But that 4 hours you can go, reprioritize, get something that was first on the agenda, make that second on the agenda. So you can play with your time. But 4 hours is something which sees you through the day.
Totally. And my please go on.
Sorry. Which people who, when they don't plan, they don't even produce 4 hours a day. They hardly produce an hour or two a day.
That's totally
Hardly.
true. That's totally true. And my very last question is more about how do we change the mindset and make people understand that planning is not actually restricting them. It will actually give them the freedom to be on top of their lives, and instead of the opposite.
Absolutely. Very well said. Absolutely. That is the concept. That when you prioritize, you have more time on hand and you are more productive. That means your bosses will be happy with your work. That means you will be seen as an efficient person. You will have increments, and you will probably climb the ladder.
Totally. And
Instead
also
sitting in one position, you'll probably move ahead.
Exactly. And also you keep proving to yourself that you're capable of performing, right? And that makes you want to perform more.
Yeah, and you're delivering on time. It's a great achievement. You feel so good.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk of stress, there are two types of stress. One is negative stress. The other is a positive stress. Now, the positive stress produces adrenaline within your body, makes you happy, makes you lively, and makes you a go-getter. So if you've performed your work all done and you still have an hour to go, you have that positive stress coming into you, and you feel good about it. You feel good about yourself. You go home as a happy person. So all these things help you. They're not restricting you or giving you a rap on your knuckles. In fact, they are edging you for a better tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. And also something more before we go. People have also difficulty to understand their production curves, meaning you cannot sit in front of a computer for 4 hours straight and believe that you keep producing at the same time. You have to give breaks to your brain, right? So you can perform. Would you like to tell me a little bit more about that? So like how throughout, and also you're different in the morning, you're different after lunch, you're different in the end of the day. How to better take advantage of these changes so you are in top of your game?
This varies from person to person and your temperament. Some people can work better or they can study when there's music in the room. Some cannot. I write. I'm a writer. I've written a book on law of attraction. And I could never write in the morning or in the evening. If you tell me to do this now, I'd never be able to do it. The only time I can do that when the world is sleeping. So I'll probably go into my room and at around 12 in the night and I'll start writing. So that suits me. So that varies from person to person. If you sit on the computer, like when I sit on a computer, I can sit for 4 to 5 hours. And more I sit, the more engrossed I get in writing and the more I produce. If I give a break, then there's a discontinuity in my thoughts. So that is for writing. But if you're doing something like a spreadsheet and you're playing with numbers and figures, and with figure numbers, then in that case, I guess you get fed up looking at that. It's a monotony, and you need to take a
give some
break,
space.
have a cup of
Yeah.
coffee, come back. It depends from person to person.
So tell me a
I
little
get
bit
very
more.
engrossed. I mean, for 4 hours, 5 hours, I'd like to, in a go, I'd like to do it continuously.
But I think it's what you're saying, because I'm the same. When I do creative work, I cannot. When I do creative work, I cannot do a break. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think it's the same problem as before.
I can't hear you again. You see,
I
this
think
call keeps coming in.
Yeah.
It's my sister. She's trying to call from America. And every time the call comes in,
She cancels
lose
me.
contact. And I
Do
don't
what you
know
did before.
how to tell her to shut up.
You did something before, and
You
you
did
could hear me
something to
again.
the phone and it
No, I
got
didn't change.
okay. Can you do it again?
Let me see if now it's working. No, I didn't do anything else. You cannot hear me, right?
Maybe you can type.
I cannot do much from
Maybe
here.
you can type the question.
Ah, sure. Yeah.
Type the question on my screen and I'll talk to you.
Yes. So
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me?
yes,
Can you hear me? Yeah.
yes. Mhm.
You see, law of attraction is a law of nature. It's not invented by human beings. Just like law of gravity.
Mhm.
When you throw a key on the table, it will fall on the table. That's law of gravity. It's always been there. And law of attraction has always been there right from the day this world came into existence. It's a law of nature. Now, everybody practices law of attraction. You practice law of attraction, I practice it, and the whole world practices. But there's one difference. Some people practice law of attraction consciously. They know how to do it and what to do. Other people practice law of attraction subconsciously. They are not using it as a law of attraction, but they are using it on a day-to-day basis. And that is that your thoughts are basically, your thoughts are your emotions. And your emotions are energy. You know, when there was an experiment done in during the Second World War, there was a gunner who was positioned at Pearl Harbor. He was asked to see a video a few years later in the 50s about the Pearl Harbor bombing where he was a gunner. And his blood sample, white cells were taken from his body to a laboratory about 7.5 miles away from him. No wires, no connection. When this guy saw the video, his pulse started to pulsate in 8 miles away from him.
Yeah.
And they were recording the same emotions over here, and they were recording the same emotions 8 miles away in that laboratory with no wires connected. So what that proves, that your emotions, your thoughts are energy. And energy travels from physical to non-physical. So you can basically create your own future by your thoughts. Now, as a child, if you wanted to be a doctor, so without knowing law of attraction, you have started practicing law of attraction. You are playing with the toy, which has a doctor set. You are telling your mom you're going to inject her. You're playing with your dad. You become the doctor. He becomes the patient. And you keep going on your mind. There's nothing but you want to be a doctor. You get into school, in higher school, and you take subjects on biology. You go into university, you take biology and you go into medical college and you become a doctor. That is law of attraction. Now, what happens when you are applying your mind in a focused direction? Nature edges you in that direction. Nature takes you to those places, takes you to those opportunities that will help you become a doctor. Nature provides you with those opportunities, what your mind has created. So you can basically create your own future. You want material gains, you can get that. You want a bigger house, you can get that by law of attraction. It takes up to 7 years for this to materialize. And once in 7 years, you do that, you will see that nature is taking you in that direction. You might see an advertisement where there's a plot for sale or a house for sale, and that is your dream house that you've been dreaming. It happens that way. There was a book called Secret on law of attraction. They even made a movie about it. So this guy always visualized a house, and 7 years down, he shifted to the other place, and to that house, he realized it was the same house that he'd been dreaming and imagining. He had a painting of that house, and he was absolutely astonished that it is the same house. So that is what law of attraction does, but you got to get focused. You need to get very, very focused.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you're able to listen to me now.
I can listen to you now.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for that. Because law of attraction has attracted a lot of attention, funnily enough, playing with the words. And I feel that many people don't understand it very well.
Sorry to interrupt. I have written a book on that. I have a book on law of attraction. It's called The Power of Focused Thoughts. Power of Focused Thoughts. And it is a manual, a law of attraction manual. It tells you how to do things, how to meditate. It tells you how you can, after meditation, how you can imagine, and how you can, your attention span, how you can apply to it, because a human brain has an attention span of 6 minutes. So you practice to take that further. So that book tells you everything. It's in the printing. I'll send you a copy once it's printed.
Please, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Because I like more this definition. The power of focused thoughts is more in our hands than the power of attraction. The law of attraction works in nature, but what our role is actually to be focused in what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
Because people think that
power of focused thought starts the ball rolling. Law of attraction gives you direction in that. It takes you to those goals that you want. It takes you there. But law of attraction is that it takes you to your goals, gives you direction, and power of focused thought is where you start rolling the ball.
Totally, I totally agree. I think it's very well put, actually, and I would love to read the book once it's ready. Would you like to add something else about everything we talked, or would you like to add any advice for everybody who's watching?
Well, thank you for interviewing me. It was very nice. I enjoyed talking to you, and you can come again and do it, or you can do it from Greece, wherever. We can talk again on any subject you like. Whether it is corporate training or law of attraction or mind sciences, we can talk anything you want. So,
thank you.
But it was nice talking to you. It was good.
Thank you so much.
I'm available. It's not an issue.
Thank you so much. As I told you, like we are starting to break down specific spiritual and scientific processes into one process that will help people upgrade. And there, for sure, I would need your advice and also your knowledge. So I will get back to you as soon as we have something more concrete, so we can talk
sure,
upon that.
What you're talking about is a form of law of attraction, because spiritualism is law of attraction.
Of course.
I'll give you one example. People go in our culture, in our society, people go to these priests and tell them to pray for you. Now, if you have faith in that priest, and he says, come every other week or something, or you eat this, or you tie this black string on your hand, and in 40 days your work will be done. And if you have faith in that priest, your work will be done in those 40 days. It is not the priest who did the work. It is not what he said did the work. And neither is it his prayers that did the work. It is your mind, your focused thoughts, because you started believing in 40 days your work will be done. That is what did your work.
Yes, absolutely.
So it is connected to spiritualism as well. When we pray to God, everywhere in the world, there's a big, huge world out here. Cuba is in one direction, Spain is in the other direction. Then we've got Pakistan, we've got UK, we've got America, Japan, all different languages. And simultaneously, millions of people are praying. And you say, God hears you, God listens to you. But it is science as well. God listens to you, but there must be a way how God is listening to you. There must be a modus operandi, how he is listening to you. And that is, your prayers, your thoughts are emotions. And your emotions travel to the universe. They travel to the source. So whether you're in Cuba, Japan, Pakistan, Greece, India, wherever, your emotions are traveling to the source. And those emotions are returned to you matching with matching frequencies. Just like your mobile telephone number has a mobile number and it's lying on the table, it's not ringing, but when I focus on that number and I dial that number, it will start ringing.
Of course. But you have to know the number, right?
Sorry?
That's the thing. But you have to know the number. If you are keeping giving different numbers, it will get confused.
Yeah, no, but we are talking of a particular number, how the phone is. So if you don't want to hear back from nature, you keep changing your number.
Yeah.
But if you want to hear from nature, you will not change your number. If you want to hear from me again, you will not change your number. If you don't want to hear from me, you will change your number.
Exactly. That's exactly as I said. So thank you so much for all the inspiration. It was really lovely. It was really, I love when we are clarifying all these big and buzzy words about spirituality and brain functioning, because people get confused and then they feel very interesting, all these terms of law of attraction and everything. But then we have to understand it further in order to be able to use it in our lives. So I love that you have this mind that can really break it down into
spirituality is thoughts, is emotions. When somebody asks you whether you believe in this or not, so believe, you have to think about it. You have to engage your mind. And if you're convinced this is what it is, so that is what it becomes. It becomes your thought. And that becomes your emotion. So spirituality and law of attraction are one and the same thing, but talking about spirituality is talking about religion and spirit. Law of attraction is talking of everything in general, including material gains.
True.
And worldly gains.
And that's why I think it became so popular also.
Yeah. But we can, like I've coupled this law for the stress management and time management together. We can also couple this spirituality and law of attraction. I can make a program for you.
That would be beautiful, because I feel that it's the time to merge the two, actually, to merge science with spirituality and understand both of them from the other spectrum. So from spirituality, see science, and from science, see spirituality, so we can see where's the merge.
It's already merged. It is one subject.
It was
It
never
is-
different. It's just different languages that we need
it's
to
just
merge.
how you teach.
Yeah. Yeah,
It is just how you teach.
totally.
It is one subject, but it's just how you teach. So some people restrict themselves to spirituality, and that's what they teach and preach. Some people are talking about law of attraction. They're not going towards spirituality, but it is basically one subject.
Mm-hmm.
When I told you, I gave you an example of praying to God,
Mm-hmm.
and I said that goes through law of attraction. What could be more spiritual than that? Than praying to God?
Absolutely.
You see,
And
that is maximum spirituality. You're praying to God, and that's done through law of attraction. God listens to you because you focused your mind, because you thought about it, and you prayed to God, as they say, from your heart, means from your emotions, with your focused thoughts. You prayed to God, He answered your prayer. That is law of attraction.
exactly. And this can be under any name of God, and under any name of focus. That's the interesting part. It's not only for one religion. That's the interesting
No.
thing.
You can call it, as I said earlier in my talk, when your thoughts and emotions are traveling into the universe from Cuba and all these directions, and Pakistan and Spain and everywhere, it is going to the source. I use the word source.
I also like
So
the word
whatever
source because
you
it's
are
neutral.
comfortable with, what you think your source is,
Exactly.
you identify it with that. It will be easier for you to understand.
It's exactly as said. Thank you so much for today. I'm looking forward for more, and let's see how we can co-create together, because it's a very interesting subject, and I feel that I like the way that you are able to transmit them. It's very clear and very understandable. So thank you for your time today, and we will be in touch for the rest. I'm looking forward to read the book. And
Sure.
whatever you need me, or wherever I can help in your work also, I'm here. Please let me know.
Yeah, we'll speak about it. We'll talk about it. And unfortunately, we can't meet because of the lockdown. But we'll see. We'll figure out something. Yeah,
Perfect.
maybe you can have a little lesson before you go on law of attraction and spirituality. So
That would be interesting.
It will help you program your project.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. I would love to.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and maybe the break of the fast shortly. And we are in touch for the rest. I think there is much to be discovered.
Sure, we will definitely be in touch. You have my number. Just give me a call whenever you want.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a
You're
good
welcome.
afternoon.
Take care now. Look after yourself.
Thank you. You too.